I've got a list of 8 random questions here. You get 3 rolls on the tower, and whatever you land on, that's where we start at least.
Okay.
What is the best wrap gift you've ever received?
I'll tell you one I gave.
Oh, I love hearing that instead.
All right. So for Beetlejuice, I didn't know what to get everybody. And so I drew an illustration of a bug being squished. You know those lemon juicer things? Of a bug being squished on a juicer, a green juice coming out. And so it was a pitcher for lemonade or something, and it said Beetlejuice, and then it had the image of squeezing beetles. So I gave everybody that.
If you could compete on the game show of your choice, what show would you pick, and could you actually win it?
I'm trying to think what are current game shows. I know I don't want to. I'll tell you what I don't want to go on is Jeopardy, because people think I'm really smart, and I'm not going to go on there and show the holes in my knowledge. I mean, there's whole categories that I know nothing about. But let me think. Well, there was an old show called Password, and you could give a one-word clue to make them guess another word, and I was very good at that. I was very, very good at that.
What is something you did for a role that now makes you say, I'm really glad that I tried that once, but I'd rather not do that again?
I don't want to do water stunts anymore. I was in a tank in Malta where it was supposed to be a shipwreck, and it made giant waves and stuff, and I was like, I'm going to actually drown instead of just pretending. I was on a torture wheel with a water wheel where I kept going under the water. I had to get into an ice hole in a real lake that they cut a hole in the ice. I had to get under the water and pop up out of it. I don't want any more water stunts.
The game I'm going to give you today is Would You Rather, and it's all filmmaking Would You Rather. So some of them get into the process, some of them are a little silly. I'll give you my favorite silly one to start here. Would you rather have to fake sneeze or fake vomit in a scene?
Oh, sneeze. Sneeze anytime, yeah.
Fake vomit is gross, but I put the fake sneeze in there because it feels like it's very difficult to do a convincing fake sneeze.
Yes, it might be impossible to make it absolutely authentic, but you can put the sound in.
Somewhat similar to that one, because I always think that it might be really difficult to do a convincing, fake belly laugh. Would you rather have to fake laugh in a scene or fake cry in a scene?
Well, I would rather have to cry in a scene, because you can make that happen. Think about your dead cat or something. But fake laughing is hard, because even if you think of something that would make you laugh, the first couple of times, it wears out and everything. It's very, very tough. Yeah.
Would you rather work on a film where you only get 1 take per scene and you have to nail it in 1 take, or where you have to do 100 takes every single scene?
For me, 100 takes.
Have you ever worked with a director who does something like that, where they like to get a ton of takes and a ton of variation?
The director I worked with who liked to do the most takes was Penny Marshall, but there was never anything like 100. But to trust that I'm going to nail it in one, I kind of warm up to things. I always say, let me go second, because I get rolling slowly. So I'd rather do more takes than just one.
Would you rather play the killer in a horror movie or get a really gnarly death scene?
Oh, the killer. The killer by 1,000%.
Can you please? Is there some sort of slasher movie that can cast you as their killer?
Not that many have had a female slasher, have they?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to a new edition of Collider Ladies Night, when I get to talk to a damn legend. Geena Davis is on the show. Geena, I never thought that I would ever be able to give that introduction. You are just so seriously, you're so instrumental to like me growing up as a sports lover in particular for a League of Their Own, and also just a movie lover in general. I was mighty obsessed with Beetlejuice, The Fly. I could go on and on. So it really is a great honor to have you here.
Thank you very much. Happy to be here.
You decide you want to be an actor and pursue it as a career. Is there any particular set that you were on or experience that you had that made you first say to yourself, it's not just that I want to do this, but I feel that I'm really good in it, and you had confidence in yourself?
Well, I have to say it was my first movie, which was Tootsie, uh, because I'd only studied, acting and everything up until then, and it was even my first audition, and I got cast in that movie, and I was a little terrified before I did it that am I going to be like confused on the set or not know what to do or whatever? And it was very comfortable and easy from the beginning. And I thought, all right, I was right all along. I want to do this.
Here's a question I love asking all the time. Looking back at your experience on the set of Tootsie, is there any seemingly silly question about the way that films were made that you were afraid to ask, but wish you had the nerve to ask?
I didn't ask any questions. Like I could have asked anything. I was at my first movie. Nobody would have thought anything, but I was so like shy and didn't want to be embarrassed that I asked nothing. And uh, I assumed that everybody came every day. And so I did. I arrived at 6:30 a.m. every day, and some days I shot and some days I didn't. But nobody ever said, by the way, you don't have to come on the days you're not shooting. But I had a great time, so I can't say I wish I hadn't done that. Uh, but I don't know what people must have thought when I came every day. And also, I had no idea you weren't supposed to sit next to the director. And every day I would get my chair and just park it right next to Sidney Pollack and sit next to him all day long. But he liked it. He enjoyed it, he said. So, but I didn't know you weren't supposed to do that.
Early on in your career, I feel like it's always so valuable to have, that person in your corner where when something doesn't quite work out, you can lean on them and they see that special something in you that keeps you focused. Did you have that person? And if so, who was it?
It was my first agent, David Eidenberg, who I had to get an agent once I moved to Hollywood, and I interviewed with a few people that were recommended to me, and every meeting was them telling me how lucky I would be with them. You're going to be so lucky. We represent this one and that one. You'd be so lucky. And then when I met David Eidenberg, he said, we would be so lucky to have you. And I was like, well, I'm signing up with you. And he turned out to be the most incredible person. It was clear that he really believed in me and worked very, very, very hard for me and just, made me feel confident in myself and my own choices and all of that. And I got cast in Thelma and Louise, I'm sure, ultimately because of him, because when I heard about it and wanted to be in it, it had already been cast. It was all over. And but he kept calling Ridley Scott's office saying, if anything changes, Gina's still interested for a year. And it went through like 3 sets of Thelma and Louise. And then finally, Ridley decided, I'm going to direct it myself. And because of all those phone calls, he said, yes, I will meet with Geena. I understand. She's been very persistent. And so then I finally did get cast.
I've read a little bit about how you view Thelma and Louise as one of your biggest career game changers. So it was making me wonder, how does that kind of career game changer compare to winning an Oscar?
Winning an Oscar, the biggest thing about it, I didn't know how I would react if I ever did, but the biggest thing about it was I felt like, oh, I got that out of the way. Like I don't have to spend any more time. I was only in the business for like 8 years, and I thought, oh, okay, well now I never have to worry about that. So really transformed my life because of the reaction that the movie got. I was used to people sometimes recognizing me on the street or in a supermarket or whatever, and say, "Hey, Beetlejuice," or "Hey, The Fly," or something, and I was used to that. But after Thelma and Louise came out, it was completely different. If somebody recognized me from that movie, They wanted to talk to me about their experience watching it. This is who I saw it with. This is how many times I saw it. My friend and I acted out your trip. I was really, which part of it exactly did you act out? But but it made me realize how few opportunities we give women to come out of a movie feeling inspired and jazzed about the female characters. And I thought, well, what a shame, because men get to come out of almost every movie having related, identified with the one of the male characters, but women almost never. So I thought, I'm going to really think about that now when I make choices. I'm going to think about what are the women in the audience going to think about my character.
It does seem like you've leaned into TV more so than ever in, I guess I would say, recent years in particular. So, is there anything in particular that is pulling you to that specific format of storytelling? Maybe something about the creative process of making a show that you can't quite get from a film?
I love so many streaming shows, and then I binge watch and it ruins my life. But you know how that is.
Oh,
But
very much.
I love, and there's so many great parts for women, women over 40 and over 50. So I'm very optimistic about, you know, television. It's really breaking barriers that haven't yet been broken in film.
I'm going to cheat at my little dice game and I'm going to bring back one question. What is the most recent TV show that you've binge watched?
I'll say Ozark, except it was really Love is Blind.
Love is Blind is a very, very good reality show. I can't get enough of that.
No, I know. I was so embarrassed to say, but I watched all of it.
I would not be embarrassed by that one bit. There are so many people out there who are full blown obsessed with those shows, and Netflix is putting out quite a few really solid romance reality shows right
They
now.
really are. And I also like true crime shows, either documentaries or that are acted out. I like all that stuff.
I wanted to talk about your institute on gender and media. So I was reading that after you first collected all of that research, you went and you took it to the studios. And from my limited perspective, there's a lot of very informative data out there, but it's not easy to get big companies to act on it. So when you brought that information to these big studios, what was the key to actually getting them to do something with it?
See, I had noticed the problem of there being too few female characters in what's made for kids, including some preschool shows and movies made for kids, PG and things like that. And I was shocked. I couldn't believe that in the 21st century we would be showing kids that boys and girls are not equal. So I didn't intend to try to do something about it, but when I asked people in Hollywood about it, every single person said, "No, that's not true anymore. That's all been fixed." And they would name a movie with like one female character as proof that there was gender equality in it. So I thought, I want to get the data because I'm pretty sure I'm right. And then I can go directly to the people making it. I don't have to, no middleman or anything, because, because people know who I am. And I can go directly to them and very privately share it with them because I know that it's unconscious bias. Because otherwise they'd be saying, yeah, we know, but they were all like, no, 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 it's not true. So I was able to prove to them that it was true. And every network and studio and production company I shared it with was shocked. They were shocked that there were so few female characters. They had no idea. And so the data and realizing their own bias, like, did the trick. I mean, they were instantly making changes. And data won't do that with everything because, for example, everybody has known for decades how few female directors there are. Nobody doesn't know how few there are, and that data, that information does nothing to make the numbers go up. But in my case, because it was unconscious bias for on screen, it worked to show the data.
So for those out there who are not familiar with what the festival is, can you tell them a little bit about what makes it stand out? Because a lot of our viewers are very familiar with, like Sundance, TIFF, South by, I could go on and on. Why should Bentonville be on their radar just as much as some of those other festivals?
Right. Well, we are very mission driven, and our mission is to champion storytelling both in front of and behind the camera that's very diverse. That, I mean, it's not controversial to say, it shouldn't be, that you want the population in front of and behind the camera to reflect the population. 50% women, 40% people of color, all that, 20% people with disabilities. And so that's the goal. So we actually over highlight all these underrepresented groups, but it's just to show what fabulous movies you can make, how impactful they are, how you totally relate to these stories that that are not your comfort zone, and we've had tremendous success with it. It's our eighth year this year.
Yeah, I've been hearing about this festival for so long, and I keep hearing about how wonderful the environment and the vibe is there, and the atmosphere, and it's always made me want to go. And this is finally the year. I am going to be there for a little bit, and I'm so excited.
Am I going to get to see you?
Yes, I cannot wait. All right, we got to wind this down. So I'm going to thank you for your time today, and huge congratulations on everything you've accomplished, whether it's on screen or it's behind the scenes, influencing this industry for the better. We need forces like you here, and I'm so deeply grateful we have you.
Great. Thank you, Perry. So much fun to talk to you.